And welcome back to another episode of Full Gorilla Life. We are in studio with McKenzie Flinchum, a registered dietitian and personal trainer, and a competitive CrossFit Games athlete. Did I say the name correct?
You did.
Awesome. All right. So we're looking forward to this, but before we jump all the way into that, we have the Gorilla Gauntlet. So Corey's going to ask you a few rapid fire questions to get to know you.
Sounds good.
All right, married or single or dating?
Single.
All right. Any children?
No.
City you live in?
What's that?
What city do you?
Oh, Vero Beach.
Jeez, I got a case of the Toms.
Yeah, you do. By the way, Tom's when he mumbles. It's a
We have a friend named Tom.
Okay.
So
He
if
mumbles.
you start mumbling, we'll say you got a case of the Toms.
I just
Try to get-
stutter a little bit sometimes.
That's okay.
It's called
That's
the Toms.
not Toms, though.
No.
Yeah, he does a little bit of both.
Favorite movie or book?
I don't know. Honestly, this is a terrible question for me. I don't like have a favorite.
Okay.
I don't really watch a lot of movies.
Okay. Who's your like favorite, like being at your workout, like guru? All right. Who's like your favorite, like idol, like workout person?
I don't know. I feel like I have to say Tia Toomey. She's just an animal.
Okay.
She is. She's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, she is.
I'm going to nod like I know who that is. I don't.
She's an Australian.
Okay.
Beast.
That
She's
helps.
the champion.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it
She's just
doesn't.
good at everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
No.
wins everything.
Yeah, wasn't
She really does.
Didn't she compete?
Oh, I like winners.
right.
She's
who
champion.
doesn't?
She's CrossFit
But
champion.
Didn't she compete in the Olympics, or is she,
Yes.
she tried out for the
Olympic
Olympics?
No,
right?
she-
weightlifter, yeah.
Yeah.
She did the games in July at that time and then went 3 weeks later and competed in,
the Olympics.
what was 2016's?
Yeah.
I forget where it was
That's
at.
pretty
Oh,
impressive.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Favorite genre of music?
Again, I don't really care.
You don't
Oh.
use
What do you
anything to
throw
get
on
you
when
hyped
you're
up?
working out?
Yeah.
People are going to think I'm crazy sometimes.
No.
I just work out in silence.
You know what?
Oh.
No, I can appreciate that.
No.
So
no,
all
that's
right.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's some
It's
David
weird.
Goggins stuff.
It is.
Have you ever heard of David Goggins?
No.
Okay, so that's what he talks about. So David Goggins is like an ultra marathoner, and he talks
And a Navy
about
SEAL.
and a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
Yeah, my bad. And a ranger, if we're gonna
Yes.
go down that road,
Yeah.
right? So he's a ranger, Navy SEAL, ultra marathoner, and he's just like a crazy man. And that's what he talks about. He says when he works out, he doesn't want to hear anything because he wants to go through the suffering and feel the suffering.
Yeah. If I'm in the middle of a hard workout, I don't hear anything around me. If I'm just going in like lifting or doing like accessory work or bodybuilding type stuff, then I'm happy with music on. But I don't really have a favorite. I guess I like hip hop and pop stuff. Sometimes I get in country moods and I don't know. Just
So just
Kinda
A
whatever.
true journalist, a generalist.
the only thing I don't
CrossFit
like to
style.
listen to when I'm training is reggae.
Okay.
Okay,
I can see that. I would.
Probably get your balance off.
Yeah, I would not. Yeah, I wouldn't want to listen to Marley. Like, I want to be on a boat when I'm listening
yeah,
to Marley.
yeah.
That's about it.
And I personally want to have a drink in my hand.
Okay, I can see
Do
that.
one-handed handstands with a drink. No, just
No,
kidding.
both hands are taken.
Yeah.
Reservation or just walk in? Like at a restaurant.
Oh, walk in
Favorite type of food?
cake,
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
Is there a certain cake that you like?
cookie cake.
Yes.
Now, mind you, we're staring at somebody that what you got to have like 1% body fat, and she says her favorite type of food is cake.
Meanwhile,
I have a huge
we look like-
sweet tooth. I think I eat desserts like most days.
You got to get to a
Well,
point
aren't
to be
you
able to do
supposed to though?
we'll talk about this.
Like
Yeah.
as a
We'll-
dietitian, like isn't it healthy to eat desserts most days?
Yeah,
You
'cause
to earn
That's what
'em.
I've heard. That's
Okay.
all I learned.
All right.
that's all I learned.
What type of vehicle do you drive?
Honda CRV.
And beer, whiskey, or wine?
Or none.
Water. No, I like wine.
Wine.
Yeah,
Okay,
I like
okay.
red wine.
Red wine. Okay.
All right. I thought we were gonna meet a second person because Corey's never had a drink in his life.
Yeah.
He just looks drunk.
Yeah. I just acted.
Yeah.
I don't need that as social lubricant. They
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good without it, I think. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
so I'm
Or
assuming
bad
though
without
that
it.
means that you don't really drink much, right? Because I mean,
No, occasionally I'll have a glass of wine or a drink, but yeah, I really don't.
Now, does that get
care.
you pretty drunk when you have one glass then?
A sip and I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is like a half a beer in and she's like,
loopy.
yeah,
Yeah.
like Larry
She-
knows.
she wants to
Jeremy
start-
knows.
She
Like,
starts laughing,
Yeah,
and it's
yes.
the greatest thing ever.
It's like a half of like a Bud Light. It's
Yeah.
not even anything crazy.
I get that.
Yeah. All right. So you started CrossFitting, right? So, I mean, if it's okay, we can start off with that because you started back in 2016 here at the local gym. Well, actually, I saw a little bit before that. It looks like you were in karate.
Mm-hmm. Karate and gymnastics growing up.
Okay. So you've always been in some kind of competitive. Now, did you compete in karate?
Mm-hmm.
What style of karate?
Shorin-ryu.
Okay. All right. So point fighting?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Did you ever break anybody's nose?
No.
My wife was a black belt in high school through karate. I don't know what type of karate, but she did karate.
She told me she broke somebody's rib.
Yeah, she was very proud of it because she said the dude was a jerk. So like when they had to spar, she kind of thinks she might have did it on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah. So my favorite karate story is when I was a kid. I was in class and some kid got hit like in the groin, and the kid was out, like he was out of breath forever. But then the coach grabbed his belt and pulled him up, and like he was fixed in like no time. I thought it was the weirdest thing ever.
First off, I never knew you were in karate.
Okay,
so let's start there.
Oh, wait, second. If we're sharing our favorite karate stories,
We're not, but we are now.
Mine is Karate Kid.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you feel that doing like the competitive karate and gymnastics gave you a pretty good foundation for fitness to kind of go into where you're at now?
Absolutely.
Is that a big reason to maybe get you where you are?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
did you just go into karate like you wanted to like be kung fu, or did somebody push you that way?
I wanted to be kung fu.
Okay.
No, when I was I have 3 brothers.
Make me kung fu.
Yes.
My older brother started first. My mom put him in karate, and then my middle brother and I started like, I don't know, a year or 2 after. And I was super excited to start. I think we just were watching him and really wanted to get involved. And my parents wanted us involved just for the discipline and, to have a sport. And then I also had done gymnastics at the time. I started that when I was like 2.
Did you do competitive gymnastics as well?
Mm-hmm. Through high school.
That's a lot of traveling, a lot of trips, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the karate tournaments were overseas, so we actually got to travel a lot for that. Gymnastics was mostly just statewide, sometimes nation.
Now, before we started recording, I think you said you moved here in 2016. Where are you originally from?
No, I'm from here.
Oh, okay.
I was away for a few years for school, and then I was in Orlando for my nutrition internship to become an RD, and then after I finished that, then I moved back.
Okay, got
So I was born and raised
What is
in Vero.
RD for the layman folks?
Registered dietitian.
I knew that. So you had 3 brothers, you said. Older, younger?
I have 1 older, 2 younger.
Okay. So are they also still competitive like you, or like you can kick their asses now?
Oh, I can kick their asses now.
Okay. How does that
I'm
feel?
the boss.
Great, right?
in the family.
I like it.
That's got to feel great, right?
Walk in, I own the room, guys. All right.
I definitely boss them around a bit, but they're all bigger than me, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but can they take a karate kick to the face?
Yeah.
No, they can't.
They were all very competitive and very, gifted in karate. They trained really hard, and they all were really, really good at their sport. But I'm the only one who still competes in a sport.
Okay.
So you traveled overseas. Sorry.
No,
Yes. So you traveled overseas.
Mm-hmm.
What is the cool spot that you went to that you're like, this place is amazing, I would like to come back?
I went to Japan when I was like 10 or 11, and that was cool. I mean, I was young, so I don't remember a ton of it, but I remember it being completely different than anything I'd ever seen. And then I've also been to Brazil, but it's not something that, a place I'd want to move to. Actually, my older brother lives in Brazil.
Does he really?
Mm-hmm.
What made him go there?
He went there for school. He got his master's degree in ocean engineering there, and he has a lot of friends there, and he really likes it there. So he's
okay, cool.
He's still there.
That's awesome. So have you been back to Japan?
No.
Okay. Would you want to go back?
I think there's other places I'd rather go first.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair.
So, registered dietitian. What made you go that route?
When I was in high school, I started getting interested in food, nutrition, and actually paying attention to what I was eating and, reading food labels. And it just became an interest of mine. And I was interested in like fueling my body for sports and training. I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do in college. Some people are like, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a firefighter or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what to do. My mom actually recommended that she's like, why don't you try nutrition? Like, you're really interested in it lately. And, I went that route, and I still wasn't really sure, but that's because I was in a lot of those gen ed classes where you're just taking biology and chemistry and getting your ass kicked in these weed out classes.
Right.
But once I actually got into my nutrition classes in the last couple of years. I fell in love with it, and I became more and more passionate about it as I, practice it in my own life, and my whole life revolves around fitness and nutrition now.
Do you feel, I feel like a lot of the nutrition books that I've read, I try to read all the different ones that come out. It's just one of my things that I like to get into, even though I don't look like it. Do you feel like what you learned in school is what you still, like, I'm sure you use parts of it, but do you feel like they're kind of the old ways, like the sad diet type teachings, and then you kind of veer off of that? Or do you feel like there's a lot of pieces that you got through school? Because I feel like you hear a lot of that, like that's the old ways, but then this and.
Yeah, I think the school is definitely a good, like, basis for practicing, and nutrition therapy, like medical nutrition therapy, that's super important to know. There's so many fad diets out there, and there's always things that are changing and things that people are learning. So a lot of what we learned in school is like how to distinguish between, what's just a fad diet and what is actually science, and how to actually look at research and break it down, and, understand that causation or correlation does not equal causation. So it definitely gave me a good, like, background, but I learned the most when I did my nutrition internship and actually was hands-on with it and saw it firsthand. And then over the last 4 years, I'm constantly growing, constantly learning more. There's always more education, more research out there. So it's really just an evolving practice.
Plus, you probably have to keep up with the fad diets so that you can kind of debunk them, if you will.
Exactly.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Whole30, is it a fad diet?
I mean, I think the name is anything that's going to restrict major food groups. I just think is really fatty. Fatty with a D.
Yeah. I like that. That'd be a good t-shirt.
Okay.
So,
So Whole30 is garbage, right?
But I think it's super important to, try to get people to eat more fruits and vegetables. And, some diets like that work for some people, but a one fits all is not the approach. So some people will say, oh, I've done keto and I lost this much weight, but that doesn't mean that that's good for somebody else. And usually I don't ever recommend that, because cutting carbs like that is a big no-no, and I would never tell anybody to do that unless they had a medical reason to do that. But, some people do better on certain diets or intermittent fasting. It just works better with their lifestyle and it works for them. And some people, it doesn't make sense. So really, it's all personal.
So what do you think of the intermittent fasting? Because that's like a big thing right now, and it's fasting in general.
Popular. I think if it works with someone's lifestyle and they like it, then go for it. Some people like that rule where, okay, it's 7 o'clock and I'm not eating after 7, and maybe they were a big late night snacker, so that's a good rule for them to implement. And some people, their eating window is 4 hours, and I wouldn't be able to sustain that. I wouldn't be able to get the calories that I needed in that window. So personally, I don't do it. I try to eat a little bit more intuitively and meet my calorie needs with good quality foods. But, it's very individualized. Like if it's working for someone and they like it and it's fitting with their lifestyle and it can be productive, then I don't, have a problem with it.
All right. So how do you talk people off the ledge that have a romance with food? Right. So like I love my food. Mm-hmm. Don't take it away. I want my cheese. Right. So how would you talk that person off of that ledge and be like, all right, this is not good for you, man. Like you need to do something else.
I think it's really about finding like a balance. And if someone says, I'm not willing to give up cheese or give up wine or give up cake, which that's completely reasonable. Like who wants to go the rest of their life without cheese or the foods that they love? So I never tell anybody to restrict foods, maybe, cut back a little bit, but there's, restricting major food groups or restricting things that you love is just going to make you want it more. So, working around that and trying to find a happy medium there and see their willingness to change too. Because if someone's not willing to give it up or make those changes, my job is pointless.
See, my problem is I'm very black and white. So either I'm all in or I have to be all out.
Mm-hmm. And she's already said Whole30 is garbage.
So he's saying that because I'm doing Whole30 right now, only because I was in a place where I was
in the middle
eating
of
all the
Whole30.
time.
Yeah.
And so I needed to get it out of my way so that when I can kind of go.
And he's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm on day 20. I haven't cheated except for weighing myself.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm very black and white when it comes to that. So I struggle with that process. So it's very hard for me to keep the balance. So it's almost I have to not have it at all, or I'm just going to go gluttonous pig all in. It's very, I don't know how to, I've tried for years to get over that and I for some reason can't.
Yeah. A lot of people have, their relationship with food is the biggest barrier.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that myself. So I can understand and I can relate to a lot of people I work with because I had, binge eating like disorder and body dysmorphia, and I was obsessed with food, and I had a very, very negative relationship with food. So it took me a really long time to overcome that. And I think that actually CrossFit has been a really big help with that, because I started looking at food as fuel, and I stopped caring so much about how I looked and just focused on how it made me feel and the training part of it. And it completely changed my relationship.
I could see that,
with
yeah,
it.
because that was actually when I was doing CrossFit. Like that's the one thing I do remember is like I would eat the same thing every day. I basically ate strawberries, with probably not the best diet, but I would eat strawberries with deli chicken and some nuts, like basically all day every day. And it was very bland, but it was because I just felt like I
felt better from that, what you were doing.
Yeah, but it was honestly just fuel. And I just looked forward to that same meal every day. It was very weird. But, and I did that for about 3, 4 or 5 months around there. But
then you gave it up.
Then
You can't.
So it wasn't
sustain
sustainable. Yeah.
no, it was fine. But then I think we just moved away, and we lost our training partners, and that's basically what
We weren't
happening.
walking distance
that.
anymore.
What happened to
honestly.
me?
And yeah.
Do you think food's an addiction, or do you think certain people are addicted to food?
I think that people are addicted to food.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. For me in general, I don't know. I love food, but I'm a fat kid at heart all the time. But I have met certain people. I mean, and I wouldn't put myself in that category, but just like I feel like you can see it in them that like they can't give it up. Like I've heard stories about Ralphie May. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a big comedian. He died, and just hiding hamburger wrappers or 12 boxes of jalapeno poppers, that he bought at Jack in a Box, and stuff like that. And I've know people like that in my own life that will literally drive through the McDonald's drive through, get 4 hamburgers, and then make sure they throw away the garbage before anybody finds out about it. So how do you get through to somebody like that? Is it a different process than somebody that is just normal, I want to fix my diet?
Yeah, it's a completely different process. And that one's a lot more difficult of a case, because it's so easy when someone just, needs a little bit of education, a little bit of guidance, and they're willing to do it. They're ready to make that change. But, working with someone who has a negative relationship with food, or there's other things factoring in like guilt or shame, or, just food is a comfort for them and they're eating for other reasons that are emotional and not just physical, then trying to, get to the bottom of that can be very challenging.
Yeah.
I could see that. And I don't think I have to that level of addiction, but I know I've easily gotten to the point of almost like a breaking point where then it's all in the whole package of something. And then as soon as you're done, you're that was you feel bad, shame yourself for it. It sounds funny when you say it, but it's legit.
I shouldn't have eaten.
I can't believe I just did that.
Package.
But in the moment, you didn't give a shit. You were just I'm eating all this and I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned something, body dysmorphia. I don't know what that is.
Just well, I think that's the right term for it. Self-esteem and seeing
You
something
see yourself
different.
different than what you actually appear to others, probably. Something like that. Would that? I'm making a guess.
Okay.
I don't know if that's.
Google it, see if I said it right.
Okay. No, I was like, okay, I don't know what that is.
Hey, young Jamie.
Yeah.
He's already got his phone up.
Yeah, I got it. So as far as lifting and did you lift in high school?
No, not really. I did some I would do bodybuilding type things, but in high school, most of what I was doing was gymnastics.
Which
Okay.
is, I feel like most
Body
gymnasts that are in it, competing, they're really fit.
No,
They're always in great shape. It's it looks like they lift, but they're constantly practicing all the moves, I guess. But
So body dysmorphia is a mental illness involving obsessive focus on a perceived flaw in appearance. So yeah, it's self-esteem, etc. So yeah, I just didn't know what that meant.
So when was the first time you went to the CrossFit Games?
Last year. So 2019 was the first year I competed there. I was on the demo team the year before, so I got to be there and demonstrate the movements. I just wasn't competing.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of working.
Okay.
that's probably got to be a cool
Oh,
moment.
so
even
because
then.
I have watched some of the games with these two guys that dork out for it. So
Yes, I do.
and now I think it's cool, but I just don't know a whole lot about it like they do. So those are the people standing there counting the reps and stuff too, or is those
So those are
different
the
people?
judges. You're asking what I did on the demo team?
Yeah.
So I actually went there a little bit early, like a week before the games, and I was with maybe like 7 other people, and we were all like, we were close to making the games last year, but didn't quite make it, or some of them have been to the games. So we had the fitness level, so they used us to test some of the workouts and figure out the logistics of workouts, and
So
just actually test things and determine their last minute like weights they were going to use. So we got to test workouts, and then before they actually would do the workouts or have the competitors do them, we would demonstrate all the movements. So they needed people who could move and do the
so
same
when you-
workouts that the athletes could do.
So when you do that with the demo team, the pre, you get to do workouts that are in the games, but you might not know it because you probably do other ones that don't make the cut, so to speak.
Everything we were doing were games.
So they already had
workouts.
it in there, but you just don't know the order, maybe, or
are you
like
sworn to
are you
secrecy?
sworn to secrecy at that point?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Yeah,
How far in advance?
That's cool,
How far in advance are you doing these workouts before the games?
We were there like a week before, so
Okay.
between a week and a few days before.
So
Sometimes
you
the day
know-
before.
So you
the
kind of
game
go through the
started.
games in workout mode already.
Are you like I want to tell you, but I can't.
Well,
Okay.
at that point, I didn't know a lot of people, and I still don't, but there's people who've been around for a long time, so they have a lot of friends that are at the games, and I'm sure it's like, hey, like, what, you have any info for me, like, anything I should be, like, practicing last minute? But we're, if anything got out that we told anybody or
Mountain climbers.
leaked any information, like, it would definitely not be worth it. I would.
No, not at all.
I would feel so guilty about
You should
it.
make stuff up. Be like, yeah, mountain climbers. Lots of mountain climbers.
Okay, hold on.
Virtual
For
shuttling.
somebody that doesn't know the games, doesn't know CrossFit like that, whenever you're telling me this, you're like, yeah, I'm on the demo team. In my head, I was like, if they're going there, shouldn't they already know how to do this? But then you guys make a big deal about like, no, it's something that they don't know what they're doing.
So yeah, basically the way it works is
In my head, I'm like, guys, you guys
Well,
made it to that
so-
level. You should know
so-
what you're doing at this point.
So what you have to realize is CrossFit is basically the real mental aspect of it is that you should be ready for anything at any moment in time. Right?
The unknown. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically you're a generalist in the sport of fitness because you don't want to just be good at one thing. You want to be good at everything.
Yes.
Per se, or as good as you can at everything. So in the CrossFit Games, when you get to the games, you actually don't know what your workout is going to be. You get told right before you're about to compete.
Or not long before.
Yeah, not long
Yeah.
before, because there's heats. So if you're in heat 4, you may know as early as heat 1, but yeah.
But I mean, do they do in my head, like, and I've only, again, watched a limited amount of this, like, in my head, like, they're like doing the clings and
Clings.
yeah,
yeah, they're doing
Close.
some of those.
Klingons?
Yeah. And
saran wrap.
they're running from one place to another. Like, is there a different movement that you guys don't do that they're doing in the,
So
like,
it's basically like just the directions of what we're going to do and the flow of the workout. So it's nice for people to have a visual. And so when they're explaining, like, here's your workout, they're showing us. And if there's anything extra, like which way we should face the rig, they're going to like have the athlete standing there because, people just, they don't listen and they don't pay attention. So when you have that visual, it helps to.
I gotcha.
So
decrease.
if I told you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you might be able to do it. But if I showed you, most people are visual. I mean, no,
Yeah.
like seriously, it's.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you want to. They show the order. They show the flow. They just make sure everyone's very, very clear on the standards, so that someone can't say, "Well, I didn't really know that." I had to get my head
yeah.
through, even though you should know.
You should know, but
is safety a part of that as well? Like for the competitors?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because
Yeah.
that's my assumption is that if somebody from the demo team gets super taxed because it's too much shoulder, too much something, and whatever the case may be, then I'm assuming that they might alter it a little bit and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe not 50. Maybe we need to drop it down to 20.
Yeah. So last year they had a workout where you had to like do an obstacle course and then rope climbs and then drag a dummy. And I don't think they knew what weight they were going to have us use or what standards they were going to let us, use on the dummy to carry them. So they just like let us go and do what we naturally want to do. And then kind of made those deciding factors of, if they're going to say you can carry the dummy however you want, or you have to drag him by his shoulders, or what weight they're actually going to use for the girls versus the guys. And, if no one on the demo team could get through the workout, then they probably, changed the weight around a little bit.
That makes sense. That
It's
makes
like a
sense.
guinea pig before it happens. Make sure it works out.
I feel like we just got some insider information.
So how many people make it to the CrossFit Games then?
Well, it's a little bit different now. It used to be top 40 men and women worldwide, and now they have the national champion of every recognized country. So there were like 150, I think, women and men.
But they get eliminated pretty quickly, don't they?
But out of the U.S., not many, right?
Most of them are from the U.S.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So how many, like, do they drop it in half and half, or how does
Like,
how
how
do
do
the
they
people
get
drop
cut?
off? Yeah.
So this past year was the first year they had it, and the first day after the very first workout, I think it went from like 150 to 75, and then I think 75 to 50, something like that, and then 50 to 40, 40 to 30, 30 to 20.
So they drop
drops
off pretty quick.
Yeah.
To get that one workout and get cut, oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
So did you compete last year then?
Mm-hmm.
So how far did you make it last year?
I made it into the second day. I actually didn't have a great experience last year.
Okay. Did it open up a lot of doors for you though, just making it there? Well, I mean, that's still a lot, even to make it to the second day.
To make it to the games is
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and
even beyond that, to be top half of that, you know?
yeah.
So did it open up like a lot of doors, like experiences and stuff for you just to be there?
Definitely qualifying for the games did, and then being there that first year, opened up the door for being on a team the next year where people actually knew my name, they recognized me, so they reached out, to be on a team with them, and
Can you say who's on the team or no?
Yeah. So the girl who I'm replacing is Alexis Johnson. She's the one who got injured, and then Emily Tanner's the other female, and then Jordan Cook and Brandon Luckett.
Okay. What team is that?
They're part of Misfit.
Misfit? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you'll be on TV this year.
If the games
Listen,
happen.
they're happening, all right? They're happening.
And we'll be rooting for you.
Yes,
Heck
we'll be
yeah,
here, and
right.
I'll be like, I know her. I know her.
Yeah. We'll go live and we'll be like, hey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
pretty
geek
awesome.
out. Like, my whole weekend shuts down around the games. My wife gets so mad.
Yeah. So what's the coolest thing that like, is there like big parties after every day or no? Because like the athletes are just done.
At the very end, I'm pretty sure they have something, but I actually left early last year.
You said you didn't have a good experience.
Right, and I was ready to come home.
Can you talk
I was
about
pretty
that?
burnt out by the time I got there. Just like some, personal stuff during life, trying to figure that out right around the games time, and then just feeling really overwhelmed and really nervous going into it. Maybe a little bit overtrained. I don't know. I didn't feel like that, but then I started to lose my appetite, and I get really nervous competing. So I don't know why. I've still been competing since I was 7 in sports, and it's something I have to do, even though I don't really enjoy it. People say they thrive on the competition floor. I get very, very nervous. But it is always nice to have that goal, and it's very fulfilling, and having something to train for. But last year I was just really nervous at the games. I was really worked up before it. I was super anxious, and just I wasn't able to really perform at my best. I had a lot of mental things holding me back, and I was just ready to be done. I remember being like on my last workout, and I knew that I had to do well enough to stay in it, and I just didn't even believe in myself at that point. I was like, I'm going to be out after this, and that's just not a good mindset. That's not usually one that I have. I'm usually pretty like confident in myself and fired up about it, and I'll give it my all, and I just felt like I wasn't able to push it, and I was disappointed in my performance and my effort, which is something I don't like to feel.
Do you feel like, so from that, obviously a big learning experience, do you feel like you were able to overcome those things and kind of get to a better place now to build off of them?
I think I know where I need to be. I don't know if I can like avoid that. I don't know like how to overcome that, but I know that I need to not have the pressure on myself, because when I go into something without the pressure and don't care about how I place, I can just lay it all out on the floor. But I went in like feeling just a lot of pressure that I put on myself, and feeling like I was going to let people down, and that just wasn't a good place for me. So I was so worked up from the beginning that I wasn't able to perform, and I didn't care so much about the placing, but the fact that I didn't put in the effort that I knew I was capable of was really hard for me.
Well, you said that, speaking of the pressure there, you said that just making the games opened up a lot of doors for you. Like, did those doors that got opened up, I assume, that might be, you know, stuff that you might be able to do in the future or something? Did that put pressure on you?
Well, it's stress, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, just a lot of people looking up to me and expecting certain things. And I performed so well in the Open that year because I went into it almost not doing it because I had been injured the month before. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll do the Open and just see how it goes. So I didn't care about how I was going to place. Of course, I cared, but I wasn't expecting to make the games that year. And I was just doing the workouts, and I actually had a little bit of fun with them. And I did the best I'd ever done in any competition.
What'd you place?
On the Open, I was finished 17th.
Oh, wow. Damn. Okay. In the U.S.?
In the
or
world.
The worldwide.
And so I think also I went in thinking like, okay, I have to be 17th or better. Like I just had it in my head that I needed to finish 17th or better. And
okay.
I just didn't. I just wasn't there.
It's so easy to get in your own way with that type of thing. I think. I mean, and it's no fault to anybody.
Yeah.
Into your own. It's just that it's easy to start getting that, and once it gets in your brain, you can kind of just keep grinding at it, and it really gets in the way.
And on top of that, then it's like, oh, now I have these guys chasing me, right? So now you're like, oh crap, I can't let them catch. I could see that. I could totally see it. But yeah, you're doing it for you.
Yeah.
Right? F for everybody else. McKenzie. All right? F for everybody else. It's fine.
So once you made it to the games, like, and did like your personal, like, I'll say your personal brand, like yourself, like your social media accounts and stuff, did they start getting bigger and kind of blowing up at that point, or?
A little bit. It's kind of been slow and steady. After there was in the middle of the Open, CrossFit Games reposted me, and then I got, you know, a lot more followers on Instagram from that because a lot of people realized who I was. And then I think being at the games and, you know, having some other like companies sponsor me or like look into me, like I want to, you know, work with this athlete. That definitely helped for sure. And just the exposure, you know, being there, being able to say that I went to the games and made it to that level is definitely good for, you know.
Now, is that an added level of stress and stuff, though, to have to, like, now you have to keep up with those social media accounts, or do you have somebody that does that for you?
No, I do it myself, and it is somewhat stressful, and when I have a lot of, like, obligations and stuff like that, it does add some stress. So at times it's been tough, and I've had to take a step back and be like, this is just Instagram, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Sometimes I get like a little bit overwhelmed with the like responsibilities, or if I have to post something, or, you know, that everyone's expecting me to compete again because I competed last year. And so I just, you know, at one point I was like, I'm just going to put a post that like, I'm not there, I'm not ready. And everyone was very supportive of it. So I definitely get in my head a lot about it and feel like overwhelmed about it. But in the end, like, it's just Instagram, like that stuff doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very understandable.
Yeah, no, because I think people understand when you're just being you, right? And actually, I feel that people enjoy that way more than when
Yeah, they definitely appreciate that more, just knowing it's just you being you.
Yeah, you being you versus trying to just put something out to put something out.
Yeah,
right?
I got a lot of support when I came out and said, you know, I'm taking some time off. I'm not going to compete because, you know, when I came home from the games, everyone was like, how exciting was that? Like, did you have so much fun? That's so cool. What are your plans for competing? And I just felt obligated to be like, yeah, I had a great time. I don't know yet. Like, I'm planning on this competition. And I felt like I was going to disappoint people if I was like, you know, I really had a crap time at the games and, you know, it was not a good experience and I don't know if I'm going to compete. I felt like that was going to disappoint people. But when I was just like, hey, I think I need some time off, like, it was really hard on me. Everyone was super supportive, and I shouldn't be so bothered by what other people are thinking, but I felt like I was letting, you know, friends, family, followers who I inspire, I felt like I was letting them down.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're really like somebody that is inspired by you, they're gonna, you know, understand that. I feel like, you know, they're gonna understand that, hey, like, sometimes you need to take a step back. You're a real person, not just some, you know, somebody that's just posting to post, like you said.
And I think that I realized that a lot when I came back and I was, you know, really real about it. And, you know, people were supportive. And when I made the decision to compete again, people were really supportive of that too. So
yeah,
as long as I'm happy and doing what I love and what I feel is best, you know.
Yeah.
So speaking of obligation, I know you have a full-time job and then you have the training. And then you have social media accounts and all those things, and you said sponsorship, so there's connections there. And like, how's the life balance on that? Is that tough to juggle all that? Have you gotten to where you feel like you've gotten a pretty good rhythm back and forth with that?
Yeah, it really helps to have my own practice and have that flexibility with my schedule. If I had like a 9 to 5 job, I think it'd be really tough to get in the trainings. I'd have to go early morning and late night. And now I have the flexibility to work my clients around and set like designated times for myself to train and have these like chunks in the middle of the afternoon. And so that's really helpful. I haven't like set aside a time for social media because I feel like that's silly, but then I've realized over the last few months that that's kind of part of work, and I should set a time for that because it's time consuming, and I don't want to be overwhelmed like late at night trying to get a post up or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
There are certain
We all feel that pain in this room.
there are certain like obligations I have with that, or if I have sponsorships and I'm trying to promote my own
We don't
business,
feel that pain.
Yeah.
trying to promote my own business, that I should take the time, set aside some time for that. And I've learned that like I said, over the last few months that should be a priority. If I want to grow that and I want to use that to, help with my business and my practice. But it's tough to juggle sometimes. The gym seems to be my like outlet where it's like social hour, except for right now. It's been very lonely since I haven't been able to go to the gym.
Based on when this gets released, we're in the middle of our quarantine right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of
We're
solo
under 10.
workouts.
Yeah, we are under 10. There's only 4 in the room right now. Okay.
And we're 6 feet apart.
And
Yeah,
we have
roughly.
hand sanitizer within hand
We're
reach.
good to go. Yeah. We're good to
Disclaimer.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Oh.
So what's your wheelhouse as far as a workout?
Definitely like gymnastic stuff and workout. I tend to do better with higher skill stuff too, rather than like just like grunt work, like just going burpees or like just hurting really, really bad that are basic movements, because I've learned through the open that a lot of people can hurt really bad and they will push themselves to that level. And I've done that before, but it helps me if there's higher skill, like higher volume gymnastics, chest to bar, muscle ups, toe to bar, handstand walking. Those are workouts I really like to do.
Okay. Now, when you walked into, is Vero Beach the first like gym that is geared towards that, or maybe not anymore, right? But they used to be. Is that the first CrossFit gym that you ever walked into?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how were you with the barbell and everything? Like, you said you didn't lift in high school, right?
Right. I'd back squatted and deadlifted. So I had a decent, back squat, deadlift, and bench press, like those basic movements I would do at like LA Fitness and stuff. But I never snatched before. I never cleaned, never jerked. So I remember setting up on the barbell during one of the classes, and I don't remember what it was. It was maybe we were snatching, and then, I had my hands close, and Wendy's like, no, your hands don't go there. It took me a really long time to figure out the difference between a snatch and a clean and a jerk. I was so confused. I was like, what's a power? What's the difference between a power and a squat? Or what's a hang? What's a hang power?
And this is
Probably
this
like,
is
what are
at
you
Vero
talking
Strength
about?
and Conditioning, right?
Yeah, it took me a little while to learn that, and I had the strength, but learning the technique was very hard.
Now, when they first saw you over at Vero Strength and Conditioning, were they like, hey, you're really good. Like, you're above the, our average here.
We know these guys, Larry and Jeremy, been doing it for a long time. They're not this good, and you're just starting.
Yeah. Now, like, did they see something in you, or were you like, hey, I'm just better than everybody else here, I should pursue this?
I wasn't better than ever. There were definitely like a handful of girls that were better than me when I started there, and when I started, I was like, I want to be as good as them. They saw that I had a good base. I moved well. I picked things up quickly. I was strong. I had a decent engine, like, for not doing CrossFit before, I guess, but that was my biggest weakness, biggest thing to work on over the past several years was my conditioning.
But they say the high bar with gymnastics is like one of the worst workouts you could ever do, as far as like grueling, right?
Like it's
I've
hard. You
never
mean
heard
like
that.
No, am I incorrect? Is it easy?
you mean like for like a high like conditioning
like doing the
purposes?
bars?
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely done CrossFit workouts that have like hurt a lot worse than that.
Okay.
Like I've never blacked out during a gymnastics routine.
Have you blacked out in a CrossFit workout?
Yeah.
Let's talk
Like-
about that.
Like the
Yes.
the
Yes.
curtains are closing. I don't see anything. I'm like about to pass out.
And
if
you're
I keep
still
going
going
I'm
all
gonna
in.
Die.
Okay. So what happened?
What
then?
movement did that?
Yeah. What
That's
workout?
happened during some open workouts. Those are
Yeah, because they put the weight low enough for anybody, But then your high skill, your high strength,
terrible.
they can go engine galore, and it puts you in a
Yeah.
place that's hard to get to.
Yeah, I've done a lot of really hard workouts in my life, like a lot of things that are really hard, but the hardest workouts I ever remember, there's like 5 or 6 of them, and I can just, like, I remember the workout exactly. Most of them are just, you know, I can't tell you what I did last week for a workout, for a Metcon or a conditioning workout, but there's like a handful of things that I'm like, that was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
Not by choice, right? You're gonna
That's the thing though, like I have, and I'm like, this is the worst I've ever hurt. Like I'm crying on the, like I'm
What's the
sobbing
one?
on the floor. And
You said
then
you
I do it
remember
again.
them. So what's the number one?
I would say the worst I hurt was this past Open, or 2019 Open, 19.4 and then 19.5.
Okay.
Doing it back. Oh, because plus a week later. So
19.4 was really bad. I hurt worse than that than 19.5, but I only had to do 19.5 once.
I was gonna say, did you redo?
I
that
redid all of them except for the last one.
Okay.
What was the movements?
On
19.4.
19.4 was like a light snatch and burpee over bar, and then it was bar muscle ups and burpee over bar.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
Burpees, yeah.
Yeah, burpees and over bar.
The up and
Yeah.
down
And then-
too.
and then
Of
the
high.
snatch.
And
Yeah.
the muscle ups
What is burpee over bar? What is
So
that?
go ahead.
You do a burpee, and then you have your barbell set up, so you're facing your bar, and then you jump over the barbell, and then turn and face the bar and do another burpee.
I've seen this. Yes.
Yeah.
So what is it? Just timed, and then you do as many as you can in that time, or you just do as many as you can until you pass out?
It was a total
Whichever
number,
comes first.
It's about
It was a
3
total
for me.
number of reps, and your score was your time.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I
So
got
that one was 4 times.
So it was
Yeah.
like how many over time? How many times did you have to do it then?
I think that the first part was like 2 rounds of, I don't remember the exact reps, so maybe I'm lying about, remembering
Yeah, it's
the
okay.
workouts. I remember the workout. I
Yeah,
don't remember
that's fine.
exact reps.
Yeah.
It was like maybe 15 and 12 or something close to that of
Okay.
snatches and burpees, and then the
And
bar
then you're
muscles
doing
were
that-
10 and 12 or something.
Okay. And you're just doing that as fast as you can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That
then you
sounds
remembered.
horrid.
So you passed out.
Not that one. I didn't pass out from a workout, but I've like started to like my eyes are rolling in the back of my head, and I'm like, everything's going dark.
So you
close
stop, take like 2-3
Yeah.
breaths, and you're
Yeah,
good to go.
Yeah.
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 That's close
yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Breathe in fire. You're good.
But those are the ones that you remember. You're like that, like no matter how you place, you're like, that was the hardest I've ever pushed myself. And
Yeah.
like, I'm happy with no matter what the outcome.
Yeah, I remember a few workouts where like I would go inside because I would work out in my garage always. So I would work out, go in my living room, and like just lay down on the carpet because I was trying to get air and coolness, and I'd be there for like an hour, and I couldn't
Yeah.
recover.
That's the worst, is just laying there.
Yeah, everything's tightening
sometimes
up,
you just-
making it harder to get up.
Everyone says they're like, get on the bike. I'm like, I can't.
No.
I can't move.
I
Like,
left
help
it.
me.
I left it all there.
That's a hard pass. That's a hard no. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I have rhabdo again.
Yeah, yeah. So all right. So I gave Corey rhabdo one time. So he
From
he came over. So this is when like
You introduced him to CrossFit
I introduced him to CrossFit
the wrong way.
and honestly like we were working out, right? And we got done with the first workout, and when I was doing like multiple workouts because I was just doing multiple workouts. So I told Corey, I was like, you should go home. Corey's like, no, I'm gonna work out with you again. And I was like, are you sure? Because like,
I'm pretty hard headed.
because it was like a pretty hard workout. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna tell you if you know your body better than I do.
Yeah.
So if you feel you can do it, okay.
Now, mind you, I hadn't worked out in like probably 6 months at this point, but
And I remember this workout
I was
because
a decent athlete like through high school. You know, nothing great, but I'd always been
months ago.
athletic,
yeah,
and
because
so I was like, anything you can do, I can do better.
yeah. And so we did the first workout.
didn't check
and,
his
and
ego
then,
on
and
that
then
one.
the second workout was just
Negative.
like it was just like it was part of like endurance, CrossFit endurance. And I was doing 1 minute on, 1 minute off, of just running for 20 minutes, right? So you run as hard as you can for a minute, walk for a minute, run. And I did that, and I remember that specifically because we got back to the house, and Corey's just he's sitting in the car. It was like a Bronco or like a Jimmy. It was like
I
an
think it's a
SUV.
Jeep.
It was a Jeep, yeah,
yes.
yeah. And he was just sitting there, and I was because he actually, I think he went back early.
Yeah, I turned around.
You turned
and
around.
I came back.
And when we got back, it was like 20 minutes later. We got back and Corey's still in the Jeep, and I was like, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, man. my kidneys just hurt. And
No,
I was
no, I wasn't hurting then. I was just like out. Like I was like, did not feel good.
okay.
And I've been
It's
in,
hard to come back from that.
yes, I've
He was
been in a
that,
really bad car accident. So I back like my T8 and T9 are crushed. So I have back pain like all the time, but I try not to let it affect me. So I went to work that night and like my back was just killing me. And I was like, I thought I did something to my back during the workout, you know? So I was just like, so I called my boss. I said, boss, I got to go home. Like my back. And I never have gone home early. Like I feel like if I make it to work, I'll just like go through the rest of the night, you know? So I go home and I crawl into bed with my wife and I'm like, babe, my back is like destroyed. Like it is hurting so bad. Like I got ejected out of a car and crushed my vertebrae. And that's how bad it hurt. Like that kind of pain. I'm like, I don't know what I did. So I went to the doctor the next day and I said, Doc, like, I don't know what's going on with my back. And they thought I was pill shopping. And I'm like, listen, I don't want any pills. Like there was something wrong with me. And then I start like puking in his office, but like dry heaving. Like I was like, Doc,
Like he really wants these pills.
Really wrong with me. He said, and he wasn't, it was horrid. He wasn't going to do nothing until I started like puking in his office. And he's like, well, let me check your urine. And I don't know whether he was drug testing me or something, you know, because I know a couple of their, you know,
did it come out black?
trade secrets. No, it wasn't black that I remember, but I was in a lot of pain. And then he said, he came back and I think it's creatinine, I think, that your body's not getting rid of or something.
I don't remember this.
It's something like that your body's not getting rid of. And he said, it is extremely high. Like, is your wife staying with you? If not, like, I need to admit you to the hospital right now. Like, because, like, there's something wrong with your kidneys. So then he sent me to the kidney doctor the next day, and he's like, yeah, you got rhabdomyolysis or rhabdomyalgia or whatever.
Right. And
then apparently Larry's like, oh, yeah, they told us to look out for that when they certified us in CrossFit.
Yeah,
like, thanks,
but
Dick.
I did. I told you to go back, but you
did.
decided not to.
Yeah.
You didn't say, hey, this could give you rhabdomyalgia.
I didn't feel I needed to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story.
That's my CrossFit story.
That's
Yeah.
pretty intense.
That's why he
It is
hasn't come
pretty
back.
One and only CrossFit experience.
Yep. He was
Probably,
I don't
yeah.
think no, we went and worked out with Rob.
Yeah, we have. Rob didn't give him.
No, Rob gave me the baby bar.
Yeah.
PVC pipe.
Yes, he said, here, wait. He gave me the real one first, and he said, wait.
You've had Rhabdo.
Wait a second. Let me fix this. Here's the PVC
He's a smart
pipe.
trainer.
Yeah.
And he knew his client.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, he knew his
Absolutely.
client. I was just like, I'm gonna work out. Do you want to join me? Okay, let's work out.
So to bring us back,
Yeah.
you're training for team.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to go through the open for that as well? And like, do you have to each place individually for that in order to go, or is it?
Well, luckily for me, they already qualified before because I was the alternate.
Okay.
So they all did the open, but I don't think they had to. They actually went to a competition. I think they went like December, and they won that one. So they qualified through a sanctional.
Okay.
So they already qualified, and for me, I was just listed as their alternate, so I don't have to do anything. I'm just free ticket to the games.
So the game, so you're there
It's awesome.
as long as it's still in play.
Yeah.
You guys are there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
the girl that got hurt, is she mad at you or is she happy for you? Like,
she's
wonder
probably
that
mad. I'm
trying
assuming
to
she's
think
mad,
that,
but not
like,
at you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
like
that's
you didn't even
tough.
work like I did, you know, like you were
She's like, you bitch.
yeah, that's. I'm like,
I'm misfit.
I mean, she put me as the alternate. Like,
Okay.
I'm sure she wants what's best for her team, but I'm sure she's really bummed that it's not her.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
can imagine.
Now, what happened to her? Do you know? Or can
Yeah,
you say?
she ruptured her Achilles doing
it's
box
gonna be a minute.
jumps.
It takes
Yeah,
Box
these
jumps.
box jumps.
but she's still like working out in a boot, like doing all
Anything
this.
she can.
Yeah,
Very
Legless rope climbs and
yeah.
everything else.
Very
yeah.
CrossFit style. I just got to keep going. Right? I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I appreciate. Because it's funny because when I was doing CrossFit, I remember somebody, you probably know him, Jason Nance.
Mm-hmm.
He works out at the gym, but he used to. I used to work with him at the hospital, and we would. He was like big into marathons, and I think he did a Ironman. and he's just like an animal with like running and stuff. And I remember telling him, I was like, I feel like I can do a marathon. I was like, I'm not going to be like as fast as you, but I can do a marathon right now. And he would be like, no way, no way. But like my confidence was like, I can finish it. I can definitely do it. I don't see why not. Yeah, but that's just the mentality of the CrossFitter.
You get like that,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, because you just feel like you can run through that pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have you ever done the workouts like the CrossFit in the seas, the cruise?
No.
The what?
Yeah.
Oh, where they have cruises specifically for
like,
CrossFit athletes and stuff.
Have you ever heard?
Yeah,
Not
I've
right
heard
now.
of that. Like,
I'm gonna chime in here and say that sounds like an awful cruise.
Well, I'm not doing it because
like
you know.
Watt on the waves or something. Is that
Yes,
what it's
that's
called?
what. Yeah, I think you're right. A water in the waves. So no,
No.
they should invite you to that. You should
Yeah.
be like the
Yeah.
celebrity.
If
that
I
goes
had
on.
like a free ticket, I'd probably go.
Yeah,
But
There you
I
go.
don't know if
Me
I'd
too.
pay
For those
that.
listening.
Me too, but honestly,
Watt
I
on the
don't-
waves.
I'm not doing a walk.
I think they're all free tickets right now on cruises.
I'm gonna waddle out though. Now, what about the workout down in Miami? That one's like a big one, right?
Wadapalooza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've competed there 3 years.
Okay.
Not this last year though.
Not this last year.
Right.
Okay.
Or this year.
As far as competitions are concerned, besides the games, because that's the games.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite one, or do you want to say?
Yeah, I think. Well, I haven't done a lot. I haven't done like a lot of different competitions besides the Open and the regionals and games and Wadapalooza. Like that's all I've done. When I first started, I did a couple like local ones, just like normal little local competitions for fun. But the only like major ones I've done are, besides anything CrossFit Games related, is actually Wadapalooza. And that one's a blast. It's all like outside. There's a lot of really good energy.
A lot of
one's
people go to that one. I think
Yeah,
that's a big
it's
one.
stacked. The
Miami.
competition's stacked.
I did one up in Melbourne, the banjo beatdown.
That's right, the banjo beatdown.
It doesn't sound the same at
It
all.
w-
I don't
no.
even know anything about this. But that doesn't
No,
even sound
that
like
one
it's
is
in the
way.
s-
This
yeah.
one was very
Yeah.
small, local
It
kind of
was
feel. But it was
that clothing company.
I forget who they were, but they had a series, and it was the closest one.
Yeah.
And at that time, I felt like,
It was at the Maverick.
Yeah, Maverick, CrossFit Maverick up
Right.
there. in
Okay, what
Melbourne.
she was doing sounds like
Oh,
a
it was.
legitimate
Oh,
thing.
legit. But
You
I was
guys
trying to
did-
finish my sentence. Is
Well,
that
here's the
they're-
thing.
they're
Here's
like,
the thing.
topic.
Anybody can
I'm going to
compete
keep
at this
talking
one.
because no one's going to listen to me.
At Wadapalooza, not so much.
The competitions are fun. That's what I was trying to say. Just the environment and the feel of it are really cool.
Yeah, I
That's what I
agree.
was trying to get to.
The banjo beat down.
It was fun.
Yeah, because Wadapalooza, you have to be invited, right?
You have to do a qualifier.
I was not invited.
Yeah.
I just kind of signed up.
You have to do a qualifier, or you can get invited if you've competed at the games. They'll send you an invite.
That's cool.
Did you get to say hi to Tia?
Yeah, have you interacted with
I
Tia?
haven't.
Did you meet her?
Talk to her, but I've competed with her.
Tia, if you're listening, next time you see McKenzie,
when you listen.
you know.
Say what's up.
No, she is a beast though. She's
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah, she's awesome. Now, Fraser versus Froning, who would win?
I feel like your post.
Fraser.
Yeah, your post kind of
Fraser?
Yeah.
running.
He's.
Wait, what are we
like, I
talking
just
about?
feel
They're
like
the-
he's unbeatable.
Yeah,
He's
but so
unbeatable?
is
Look at him. He's won.
See, you
4
gotta
years in a row.
listen to where you're going here.
I
She
know.
started in 2016.
It's like Jordan LeBron.
Froning's like the old guy now.
It's like Jordan LeBron
Yeah.
type of conversation here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I would love to see him like you always do. Like, right, you can't see them compete against each other when they're both at their best.
I think now Fraser would win.
Definitely.
Because, yeah.
He's competing for championships.
Yeah,
Definitely.
versus team.
But maybe you'll see Froning in the team.
And
Right
people,
next to
people just evolve too.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
For
I
both
agree.
parties.
Awesome.
Either way, I hope the games do happen and good
too.
luck in them.
They're
Thank
gonna
you.
happen.
They're gonna. I feel it too. It's a
I'm
while
gonna be
ago.
saying,
You know, the Olympics were too. They did.
I know her.
Yeah.
on TV.
Yeah, we'll put a McKenzie shirt on. Reebok,
Yes.
all that stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So McKenzie, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
As a last question, what is something that you can, based on your life experiences, what is something you can impart upon our listeners, if I can get it out?
Lifting heavy does not make you bulky.
And with that, ladies and
I like
gentlemen,
it.
I like it. Thank you so much.
And before we do stop completely, where can our listeners find you if they want to follow you, see what's going on with you, your training, your dietitian?
Most of my training and stuff I post is on Instagram. My name is McKenzie Grace Fit on there, and
Spell it for him.
McKenziefit. And then my nutrition practice is Flexible Dietetics. I do have a Facebook page, but most everything I post is on Instagram. That's nutrition or fitness related, training related.
Now, if somebody wants to get some good diet advice, how would they go? Would it be through Facebook?
They can if they go to my Instagram, there's a link to my website on there. My website is called flexibledietetics.com.
Okay.
All right, guys. Make sure you check it
Awesome.
out for sure.
Yeah. Thanks
Good
so much.
luck.
Thank you.
All right, guys. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at fullgorillalife@gmail.com.
And if you want to see what's going on social media, you can find us on Facebook and on Instagram at Full Gorilla Life and on Twitter at Gorilla Full.
And please visit our website, fullgorilla.life. And please hit subscribe on your podcast app of choice.
Later.
Adios.